Hi, welcome to this video on compiling Java code. This is some extra stuff I'm adding to my Intro to Programming for Java Business Majors course I teach. So this is just some additional. We're going to learn here how to use the Javac compiler. Uh, so you can run Java, with it, simple tools. So if you go over here, first of all, the only tools we're going to need for today are, well, you got to have the JDK installed on your computer. That's first. You're just going to need a simple editor like Notepad. You can use Word, something like that. And you're going to need a terminal. In Windows, we call it a command prompt. It's a terminal in Linux and over in Apple land. Let's just start here by creating a very simple Java program. Now, notice I'm just using Notepad. You can use other compilers such as NetBeans, Eclipse, all kinds of these, not compilers, the other IDEs, interactive development environments. But I just want people to know that, NetBeans is not Java. Java does not need NetBeans to run. Java runs all by itself in the back end. So here, let's just the basic parts of a Java program we're going to need to get by. First, you got to start. You got to have your public class. Okay, the public class, and we'll name this one, class one. We'll just call it, just make it easier. Then put up our brackets here, and I always just kind of space down here, make life easier. Now, Java is completely disinterested in white space. It's not like Python where the tabs and stuff mean something, but it is just good practice to kind of spread things out. So I do a little indent here before I'm going to put in our main method here. We also need a main method here. This is the minimum we need for a Java program here. So we're going to go string args. This is just kind of standard boilerplate you need just to start. And again, this gets a separate set of brackets, and I move these in just so I can differentiate the two. It's not so bad with a single program like this, but when you get really deep into a lot of them, it becomes an issue. Here, we're just going to do the standard. If I could type, this will work really well. System out, print line. And we'll just do everybody's favorite, hello world. Now, I know I'm making a mistake here. I'm leaving something off, and this is on purpose because I want it to fail when we first compile it, just so you'll see what a failure looks like. I also want to point out that you notice my class name it's lowercase. It doesn't matter as long as it matches the name of your file. I know the convention they state with it, you show us your class name should be an uppercase on class name. It's a convention you follow. I just want to show you it can work without it. So we're just going to save this. I'm just going to save it in my root folder here. So actually, I'm going to save it. Where do we want here? We're going to go to PC, go to C, and we'll just go to users and me. So users and me. And we're just going to name this one. Got to name it the same thing as our initial class. We're going to name it class 1 Java and just save it. Okay. I put it there because when you come into your command prompt for Windows, at least, this is where we land here, is on this users POR. So what we're going to do is now we're going to compile it. So we're going to put the command in Javec, that's for the compiler. Then you have to make sure you put in the name of your file with the .java class. Now, if you saved it somewhere else, you have to make sure that you change your directory to match the correct place you saved. Go ahead and hit enter. And this should fail. It's going to fail because I made a mistake. Yep, we got a system out error. So we got one error. There's something just expected here. So let's go back and look. And yes, I didn't finish out this command. So let's close the prompt, put our semicolon in place, and then we'll just save it. Okay, so now we'll try it again, the Javec, and if you get nothing, then that's a good sign. So then we just type in Java, class 1. We don't have to put the Java anymore in there, and boom. And get the hello world. Because what happens is once you've done this Javec, what we've actually done here, let's see if I can get this up. what you do when you run this compiler is you create this class file. And what this class file is pretty much assembly language for the Java virtual machine, which is what Java runs on top of. So Java doesn't actually, it's not concerned because every assembly and machine language needs to be written for the processor of your computer, whether it's an AMD, Intel, or so Java, what it did to kind of beat around that is when you install your JDK, it installs a, just see, installs a Java virtual machine. So JVM Java virtual machine. And what this works as, this is what your Java programs run off of. So it doesn't care if you're running an Apple or a Linux or you're running a Windows system. None of those things matter because it's all running on this imaginary Java machine in the back end anyway. It doesn't matter what kind of processor you've got, any of those things, it's irrelevant. So just real simple, I just want to point out that number one, you do not need a NetBeans or an Eclipse or any kind of fancy IDE to work with this. Anything written, as long as you write it and save it as a Java file, it's a Java program, and you can compile it right here from your command prompt. Just the only steps are you just go to where the command where it sits in the right folder, javac so it's Java with a C, and then you'll type in the name of the file as .java, and then once it compiles without any errors, because you see up here I got errors, but if it compiles without errors, then all you got to do is just type in Java and the name of the file, because at this point it's going to call this Java class 1.class, because that's the actual program that gets run. All right. Well, thanks a lot. This was just kind of a informational thing. I'm glad to have you here. See you in next class.